G'day, I'm Rob Malicki. Welcome to A Life That Travels here in Adelaide. I'm with Lauren McLeod. Thanks for joining me today.
No worries.
Awesome. Tell me what it was like making the call to drop out of school.
It took a while to make the decision. So I never ever liked high school. In about year 9, my attendance started dropping significantly, but I made it through 9 and 10. 11 I ended up doing over 2 years because my attendance wasn't high enough to go. Then I changed school for year 12, went to a senior college hoping that that would be a different kind of vibe, I guess, less pressure, I don't know. But I made it till about April in year 12 and dropped out. I had health issues. I got diagnosed with celiac disease pretty much at the start of year 12. So that didn't help my attendance really.
How did you know? So for somebody who's watching this, did you kind of know in your guts that from year 9 that like this is just not going to work? Or how did you know?
I think it was probably more like year 10. I was like, I just don't want to be here.
Was it the people?
Don't want to do
school,
it.
Or?
I think it was the structure of everything, and I didn't find my school to be particularly accommodating for a lot of the classes. But I just didn't enjoy going. I didn't like being told what I had to do, when I had to do it by, and I have very high standards of myself, so the pressure was a lot.
That's interesting because that was not kind of where we were going to start this interview, was it? I mean, interesting. We were going to start, but it's interesting to kind of dive into it. I mean, what would you say to somebody who's like in year 9, who's suddenly sitting there one day looking in the mirror, just being like, I fucking hate this?
Well, I would probably say if you can push through to at least the end of year 10, that would be good. You can't. So I got into uni by sitting the stat test, which I don't think you can sit till you're 18.
Okay.
So I was luckily.
And what is
18.
that? What is that for somebody who doesn't know what that is?
It's basically a reading and comprehension test. There's some maths in it as well, so literacy and numeracy test, I guess. And you get graded on that, and then depending on the grade on that, you can get into various uni courses instead of an ATAR, which I think is now called a TER.
Oh, right.
Which is the year 12 like grade.
A TER?
I think that's what it's called. I don't have one, so I don't know.
Nice. Yeah, nice. So I mean, like you're clearly quite bright. You know, was that then a hard decision, or once you'd made that decision, did it feel kind of like liberating?
I felt better because I didn't have to go to a place that I hated every day or feel guilty about not going to a place that I hated every day. But then I was kind of like, what am I going to do? And I decided that there was still, I guess, learning that I wanted to do, and maybe uni would be better. So I looked how to get into uni, and the stat was the easiest option. I think there were bridging courses and stuff like that as well, but stat was a good option for me, so I sat it and got into uni.
Did you work in, like, after you kind of dropped out? Sorry, this is like really applied, right? But
yeah.
So many people, I don't think anyone talks about this at all. Right? True.
Yeah.
Like, so sorry to kind of just stick on this just for a
moment.
No,
that's okay.
Like after you drop out, the week after you drop out, what happens?
I got a job, I think. Yeah, I got a job, I think, pretty soon after. It was a terrible job. I got paid next to nothing. So I worked there for about 4 months, and then I got a much better job, which I kept throughout uni. Awesome. And am still doing now.
Awesome, cool. And what about your folks?
Mum was much more chill than Dad. Yeah. Dad was kind of like, you need to finish high school, you need to go to uni. And Mum was like, I guess if you hate it that much, you can do what you got to do.
And so what would you... Because I reckon that must be one of the... I had friends that dropped out of school. Had a good mate at the time who ended up becoming becoming a butcher, had other friends that went on to do other things, but I think maybe their parents, I'm not saying your parents were the worst part of it, but I think their parents were probably one of the worst parts of that.
Yeah, well,
so what advice would you have for a young, like somebody in that situation? If you go back and, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. Well, my parents were reasonably supportive. I don't know what you'd do if you don't have supportive parents, but also if you hate it that much and it's making you, just, I guess, hate waking up in the morning, it's probably still the best decision. But take my advice with a grain of salt because my parents were pretty good.
Awesome.
Overall.
Thanks for sharing.
That's okay.
So let's talk about that next step. So stat test. I'm not sure what that's called in other states or if that's the same.
I don't know what that's called across.
But on a Life That Travels, guys, you'll find we've just put up some videos about alternative pathways into university, so like bridging courses and stuff. So there's stuff there if you guys want to look that up. So you've done the stat. Tell me what happened next.
I'm trying to remember how the results came out. I think I got a letter telling me my results, and I think it told me what the equivalent ATAR was, which was the year 12 grade at the time. And then I guess started using that to figure out if I could or couldn't get into the courses that I wanted.
At that point, did you know what it was that you wanted to study?
Yeah, I've kind of always known that I wanted to study environmental something pretty much forever. And I think that was part of my problem with school, is that I wasn't really studying what I wanted. I was studying what the school wanted me to study.
How did you know that? How did you know what it was?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just always liked nature, animals, plants.
Is it because
anything.
when you were... Sorry, I just love the detail of this stuff, you know. The reason I did an undergraduate science degree, and the reason I did that, same thing, like I love the outdoors, but it's because my parents took me bushwalking when I was a kid, and I love the adventure of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just really liked animals.
Cool.
And animals are part of the environment, so then it was like the environment looks after the animals, so we need to look after that as well.
Awesome. Cool. So you
I had to have a stab at it. Yeah.
I
just kind of always knew.
It's funny, isn't it? Maybe this is just something you get to when you get a little bit older, and suddenly you're like, why am I like that? Like, where did that come from? And I think, you know, I've been thinking a lot about a lot of these kind of things in my life. Like, why am I so passionate, right? Like, I'm so energetic. And like, I've managed to trace that back to something that everything comes from when like we were 6 years old, you know, or 8 years old. It's just this like pivotal point in our lives. I digress. Tell me what it's like. So, okay, you've done the stat.
Yep.
What's it like to be an environmental student? Sorry, you did like environment, right?
Yep.
What does that mean? Bachelor of Environment. What does that mean?
So it was a new degree. I was the first year that got let in, I guess. It actually doesn't even exist anymore. They chucked it back in with Bachelor of Science. But so there was a management stream, a science stream, and a general stream. And depending on the topics that you did, you either did one stream or the other, or the general stream.
Okay.
I did the management stream, but I did all bar one of the science stream topics.
Okay. So I guess at some universities that might be like a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Environmental Management, but it's more like the environmental management sort of stream, right?
Yeah.
With some of the
with
like pure science in there as well. What's it like being a student studying environment? What do you do?
I did lots of different things. I did topics on groundwater. I did biology topics, evolution topics, earth sciences, marine sciences. Did
you have to do like maths and physics and stuff, or chemistry?
No.
That's probably right.
Potentially why I liked it better than high school. And I chose to do the biology topics. Nice. I could have done chemistry and maths and stuff, but I was like, no.
I did Chem 101. I was like,
that's enough.
If you're a chemist, respect to you. The world needs you, but I'm not one of you. Very nice. Awesome. And what does that look like? So, courses for students doing more environmental management style courses. What kind of stuff do you like? What do your classes look like? Is it more lectures? Is it like lab work?
Depending on the class. So I've done a lot of field work, a lot of lab work, and a lot of lectures, I guess. Depending on the class. So biology classes were very lab orientated and lecture orientated. I did a class that we went and looked at the Adelaide metropolitan coastline.
Cool.
On an excursion, and because they're moving sand up and down that all the time, well, really just one way, but the sand's constantly moving, so we need to pump it to keep the beaches nice.
Oh.
So we went and looked at that and then did a project on that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that was a bit more management-y than science-y.
And what's it mean to do a lab? What's a lab course for somebody who has absolutely no idea?
One that I can remember, we looked at the behaviour of some kind of insect. I want to say a bean beetle. Mm-hmm. So we just observed them, saw what they did, wrote it down, and wrote about it. Mm-hmm. All in so it was about 2 hours of observation, and then we had to provide the report a couple of weeks later.
Cool. And so fieldwork stuff. So you said you went and did this. Out looking at the sand and the movement, and I guess the equipment and everything that goes around, managing that process.
Yeah.
Did you do any other kind of field work?
I went to Borough once, but I didn't actually complete that topic. What's
that? Where is that?
Oh, Borough is, I want to say north.
Cool.
I'm not very good with directions. I mean, I've been there. So it's just 3 hours. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if that's wrong. Out of Adelaide.
Google Maps, ladies and gentlemen.
And we looked at plants there. We looked at the farming, because there's some farming there. We drew some mud maps of the area. And
so why didn't you finish that topic?
I basically was too sick too.
Okay.
There was 1 week where everything was due, and I was pretty much sick that week. And that was it.
What's it? So for people who haven't gone into university, who've been, you've been at high school. Mm-hmm. What's that process like? Suddenly realizing I'm not going to get through the end of this course. Because it happens to just about everybody. At some point,
it was horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. It's the only course that I didn't finish, and I knew if I didn't finish that course, I'd have to pick up an extra one somewhere else, but I just couldn't do it. And I tried to, I guess, negotiate deadlines and stuff, but it just didn't work out.
But they didn't?
It couldn't. There was no time. Not sure why. Teacher was like, look, you just need to do it. She did give me an extension, a slight extension, but I still couldn't get it done by then. It was just really bad timing, honestly. But once I withdrew, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't beat yourself up. It looks like it
was a traumatic time.
It looks like it still affects you.
I feel like that was worse than dropping out of high school, but I don't think it was. I think it's just more recent.
Yeah. Because I think I think that's the kind of point is that it happens to so many people, and I think maybe we all make it a bigger deal than it actually is.
Yeah. Well, and I was the only one that cared that I dropped out of the course. By this point, Mum and Dad don't care. They're just glad I'm at uni.
Perfect.
So, it's just me.
I can totally empathise, right? I dropped second year genetics.
Oof.
Yeah, and it was...
I never did genetics. I was warned off genetics.
Yeah, well, I kind of worked out genetics wasn't for me. And I think maybe about 6 weeks in, we were doing something with flies, because flies mutate really fast and you can breed them really fast.
Cool.
And I just remember sitting in this class just being like, I fucking hate this. And I remember looking in the handbook, just being like, oh, look, this actually wipes out all of these courses that I thought I wanted to do in third year. And then I looked at those courses and I really thought about it. I went, you know what? Like, if
Don't need them.
if I need genetics in
Yep.
order to do that, clearly I didn't understand what that course
Yep.
in third year was all about. And so it actually really helped me to suddenly realise, because I think it's as valuable to cut away options
Yep.
that you then don't have to worry about pursuing.
Well, and some of them you've never done before, so this is like literally, you think you want to do it, but this is your first actual taste of studying it, and then you're like, oh,
Actually,
don't
sucks.
love this at all.
And maybe that's almost one of the most valuable parts of uni, is just getting to try things and like eliminate the shit that isn't you.
Yeah. Well, I did a sociology elective at uni and I hated it. I finished it, but I didn't do any more. And I did an archaeology one as well, and then I did another 2 because I liked archaeology.
Cool.
I'd never tried archaeology.
What's
It was
it like
good.
being an archaeology student?
That was cool. It was different. Except it's still actually tied in with what I was doing. I did an evolution archaeology topic, which is basically biology, honestly.
Is that like digging up bones?
We didn't get to dig up bones.
Oh.
It was very upsetting. But we did get to look at some like Neanderthal skulls,
Cool.
or replicas, probably.
And is archaeology sort of same sort of thing as the science? Is it like lectures but then lab work? What does that look like?
One of them we had lectures and labs. One of them was just I think a 3-hour tutorial or something like that. Maybe I only did 2 archaeology topics actually. But in the one we had just a 3-hour tutorial, we got to write a book as a class as well. So that was cool and interesting.
Nice. What else? Somebody who's thinking about going in to study like environment and whether that's environmental management, environmental science, that kind of space, what do you think they need to know about studying that topic, that degree, that discipline?
I think you just need to like it, really. That's what I found with study, is if I like it, then I'll stick at it, but if I don't, it's quite difficult too.
Yeah.
But I don't think you really need to know anything. I don't even think that you need to have done any kind of science topics in high school or anything like that, really.
How fast do you know if you like something or not?
A few weeks, I reckon. Yeah. So the first couple of lectures are often quite introductory, and then once you get into the assignments,
Nice.
you're either like, oh, I'm quite interested in what I'm reading about and I'm enjoying writing this, or you really just don't have any time for it.
And so how did you, that stuff that you were interested in, how do you remember having a feeling when you were doing some topic, environmental management science topic, and being like, oh yeah, this is my thing? Do you remember that feeling in one of the courses or something like that?
There were moments in, I think, most of the courses where I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I didn't necessarily enjoy the whole course, but there were always some parts of it, or most of them, that I did like. So I think overall the like was there, so that was enough to keep me going. And I was like, well, I can work in this if I like it most of the time.
Yeah. Nice. Same thing. So my first degree was in the sort of sciences, and I remember doing, it was called natural hazards.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
It was so good. It was like bushfires, hurricanes, tornadoes,
Yeah.
like all the crazy shit in the world. And I remember doing that course, and fucking great lecturer. And Damien Gore, if you ever watch this, Damien, I love you, man, you're amazing. And I remember being in that class just being like, I could do this for a living. Like, I could study hurricanes and tornadoes
That'd
and
be so
cyclones.
cool.
Yeah, for a living, that could be my thing. So, yeah, it's a kind of cool feeling
Yeah.
when suddenly you realise that you have permission to do whatever the hell you want.
I think the lecturer is actually really important as well, though, now that you've mentioned that. Because lecturers can make or break a topic.
Totally. So you went to Flinders?
Yeah.
Do you have anyone stick out in mind? Who you like, they were amazing, if you remember the names?
Kirsten Ross, actually, she was an environmental health lecturer. Her classes were really fun.
Awesome.
So not even environmental science or management, but related to the environment sector, I guess.
Nice.
But her classes were fun. One of them was called Zombie Apocalypse, which was microbes and toxins.
Oh,
yes,
that's awesome.
I did a zombie apocalypse topic, and it was quite fun. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
she just made it fun.
Yeah. And yeah, if there is a zombie apocalypse, it is going to be microbial, isn't it? That's an interesting world. Awesome. Tell me about Flinders. Where is it? What's it like?
It's south. It's 20 minutes-ish south. It's quite hilly. You get fit walking up and down the hill. It's awful walking up and down the hill when you're in a rush. Because you're like, I've got to run up this hill to get to my next class, and you get there out of breath. But it's good. It's quite a pretty campus. There's a lake in the middle and then kind of like a hill either side. I liked it there. Lots of trees. So that was nice for me.
What part of where is the science section? So it has that main hub
Yep.
area.
So that's at the bottom,
Yep.
next to the lakes.
Yep.
And then science was like off to the right.
Like across the bridge. Is it a bridge? No, like across the dip near the lake and then up the other hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. What's it like studying at Flinders?
I liked it mostly. Lecturers were mostly good. Pretty good.
Good vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. And I made friends, which obviously helps.
Yeah. Tell me about that process, because I know, like, when I went into uni, I knew nobody. In fact, my brother was there. I knew my brother. But outside of that, like, I was a bit anxious going into first year, like, not knowing. I had one or two other friends that were going to that uni, but doing like accounting. Cressida, that was you. If you ever see this, mate. But like my best friend, right? One of my best friends. I never saw him at uni ever.
No, because if you're not studying the same thing as them,
Never.
you don't.
So what was it like trying to make, or that process of meeting people at uni? Do you remember it?
Well, my first ever topic and my first ever assignment was a group topic. So I got allocated a group randomly and made a couple of friends in the group that kind of popped up throughout my studies. And you kind of just make friends with the groups you were put in. And then also one really good friend that I made out of uni, I got lost going to a class. And I was like, hey, do you know where this class is? And he was like, no, but I'm going to that class too. So then we just sat next to each other and became really good friends.
Awesome.
And another friend of mine, actually, I made friends with him in the line to get our bags after an exam. So I don't know how I did that, but I was just like, oh, so how'd you find the exam?
Yeah.
And we just became friends. He popped up in some of my classes.
So I guess that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you can pretty much like talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Did you find, how was it different meeting people compared to school?
Well, people that you were in classes with probably had a bit more similar interests than you, rather than school, because everyone is in the same class. Doesn't matter what your interests are. Whereas the people that I was in classes with were obviously interested in environmental management. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Did you do any clubs or societies? Did you get involved in any of that kind of stuff?
No, I didn't even really know about it, but I was also probably too shy. I mean, I'd make friends with people in exam lines, but I didn't join any clubs. I might have if I hadn't made friends in the first year, but by then I was set.
Yeah. Awesome. What else? Was there something, why did you pick Flinders?
It had the best environment degree for me.
Okay.
So I think Adelaide Uni had an environmental science degree, but you had to do statistics and biology and chemistry and stuff. And I wasn't sure how I'd go with the real hard sciencey math stuff. So I went to Flinders.
I'm not a stats person. Once again, if you're studying statistics and that is your thing, I totally respect you, but yeah, ouch. Actually, the funny thing is, that is funny because I hated statistics at uni, and now I get to do it in my businesses.
Yep.
I'm fascinated, right? Because it's so real world.
Yep.
But at uni, when it was like theoretical, it was
Yeah.
just like pull my head off, please, because this is killing me.
Yeah, that's good.
But now, like, real world is great. So I guess there's something interesting in that. Have
Yeah.
you found that in any way, like that stuff that you really didn't enjoy, you've then come across later?
Yes. So
And you're like, this is cool.
in first year I did a GIS topic, which is Geographical Information Systems. Yeah.
And what is that exactly?
It's like a mapping type. You use a map software to collate data, I guess, essentially plot points, look at contours, that kind of thing. I did that in first year and it was horrible. Sorry to whoever ran that topic. But then I volunteer at the Department for Environment and Water, and I've had to use it there, and it was actually really cool, and I was really proud of the map that I'd made, and I was like, this is awesome, it actually shows me what I need to see, whereas at uni it was just kind of, did I care where the quandongs were? No, I didn't. In the nicest possible way, I didn't care.
What the fuck's a quandong?
It's a fruit.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. That's
Awesome.
what we were mapping.
Oh, you were mapping quandongs. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe, and that's, I guess the thing is, like, it's like the real world relevance is what's kind of important
Yeah.
in these things, right?
Yep.
Anything else that maybe surprised you about Flinders? And by that I mean something that you were, you'd heard Flinders is like this and was untrue, or something that you hadn't heard that turned out to be true. Does that make sense?
I think I actually heard that Flinders was not a good uni. I feel like everyone was like, oh, Adelaide Uni, that's the uni that you need to go to. And I was like, oh, but Flinders' course looks better. So I went there and I thought it was good. I mean, I don't know what Adelaide's like in comparison, but I never even considered leaving Flinders to go to another uni.
What would you say to somebody, because there's so much pressure in society, we have so many influences, our friends, our parents, our brothers and sisters, and everyone's kind of got their own blah blah blah. And I say it in the nicest possible way, like you should listen to people, but you should always make your final call. Yeah. But what would you say to somebody who's getting some of that like external pressure, that like you got to go to Adelaide, or you got to go to this, or you got to go to that?
Do what you think is best for you. Also, if it's the wrong decision, you can change. I could have done a semester at Flinders, realised that maybe it wasn't the best uni for me, and probably got my credits transferred over to a different uni.
That's such good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good advice. And that's also something I don't think a lot of people think about before they start uni, right?
No. But it's not, you don't have to commit to the degree. Just go try it. If you don't like it, I mean, you've learnt some stuff for a semester. What's the worst that could happen, honestly?
Yeah.
You hate it and you leave.
That's right.
That's fine.
My favourite guy on YouTube at the moment is Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. And he's awesome, and he always he's like a business guy, but he's fucking amazing anyway. And he always says to like young people, it's just like you're as young as fuck, right? Like you got all the time. It doesn't matter if you've got, if you stuff something up when you're 18 or 19 or 20. Yeah. Because like I'm 38 now, 39.
You don't know.
It becomes irrelevant. But like you suddenly realise just how much time. Like even now, I'm like I could spend the next 10 years trying to work shit out, and I wouldn't be 50 yet. Like and I'm like almost double your age, right? So you know what I mean? Like you've got so much time when you're young to work stuff out.
Well, I always thought that I was like behind because I started uni a year later than those that I was meant to graduate with, and I did a 3-year degree over 4 years. So instead of doing a full-time load of 4 subjects, I did 3. So there was a bit less pressure, I guess. But so I kind of ended up 2 years behind, and then I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And it's better than overloading myself and stressing out.
So it's good that you clearly understand you, right? Was that also? Do you think you got some of that from that process of having had to drop out of school? Sorry.
Yeah.
Did that help with that process of just being kind of okay with that?
I think so. Well, because I was already behind. What was an extra year of doing my degree. But you're not even behind, because so many people at uni don't do, I guess, the standard time for that degree.
Yeah.
Some
That's
people
true.
even do it quicker because they do summer topics and stuff.
And lots of people do things they fucking hate,
Yeah.
right? And then after 3 or 4 years, then they're like, oh shit, I hate this.
Yeah, I don't want to work.
Or,
Not with this degree.
or you become a lawyer. If you're a law student, respect, and we've got very good lawyers, so, you know, respect, but yeah, like some people just figure out much later that it's not for them, so.
Yeah. I'm really glad that didn't happen to me.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm really glad I didn't do 4 years of uni and then go, oh, no.
But that to me sort of shows that you're winning, right? Like, at this stage, you've eliminated some stuff that hasn't worked for you.
Yep.
You've kind of more or less worked out, like, this is kind of where I want to be. That kind of makes it look like, to me, like you're winning, right? Like,
I like that way of thinking.
yeah. It's true, no?
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed my degree. I'm happy to look for jobs
Yeah.
in that field.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Awesome.
enjoyed the degree.
Cool. What else did you do at uni? So, I mean, okay, you did your studies.
Yep.
We've talked a little bit about what Flinders is like as a university. What else did you do as part of your degree?
Well, I did a placement topic at Department for Environment and Water, which I am still there because
Cool.
they were lovely enough to keep me on. And I did a topic overseas through AIM Overseas in Cusco.
Cool. Oh, you did Peru.
I did Peru. Yeah.
Declaration of interest. I'm one of the co-founders of AIM Overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, I did Peru.
That is I'm jealous.
It was so cool.
I haven't been there.
Oh, you should go to Peru. Definitely.
I'll start with the first one first, like the placement, and then we can talk about
Yep.
the AIM Overseas one. Tell me about that placement. Like, how did you get that?
Well, I took probably a bit of a risky decision and decided to do the placement topic. There were a few different choices, but it was a risky decision because you had to find the placement yourself. It took me about 4 months, honestly, to find a placement because I tried a few places and they were like, oh yeah, that's probably fine. And then at the last minute fell through. That happened twice. And then I just sent in to the Department for Environment and Water a general, I think it's just a work experience application, and then they send it around to various departments, and then if the departments are interested in having you, they'll contact you.
Cool.
And someone did.
Nice.
So
What did that feel
I
like?
went in. That was really exciting, especially because it was the last topic that I did. So I was kind of at that point where I was like, do I need to give up on this topic? Because otherwise I may not finish my degree this year. But it came and I finished it. So I finished my degree in March and graduated in April
Sensational.
last year, yeah.
And what's it like to do a placement? Tell me a little bit about doing that placement. So it's like a formal subject at uni, but
Yeah.
in fact you're actually out in a workplace
Yeah.
doing stuff.
So there is like a pre-placement test that you have to do, which is pretty chill. And then I did a 20-day placement over about 3 months, I think it was. And you have to record what you did in that time and then write a placement summary. And that's it.
What kind of things did they get you to do when you were there?
I went out to a drainage disposal basin in the Riverland and did revegetation surveys
Cool.
and then wrote a report about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I got to go in the field and then I got to be in
Yeah.
the office as well.
Yeah.
That's the ideal, I think.
I actually completely agree. I think the ideal job would be one where you get to spend half the time outdoors.
Yep.
Using your body, walking your brain outdoors light,
Yep.
and then the other half in the office using your brain.
Yep.
Sitting in a chair.
Yeah, you need a balance.
You need a balance.
Yeah.
Ah, neat. And so now that's obviously opened up doors because now you've met people there, you've experienced that workplace.
Yep.
So is that kind of placement thing something you'd recommend?
Yeah, definitely.
Into uni
And it
thinking.
confirmed to me that I did want to work in the environmental sector,
Nice.
because workplace is not necessarily always going to be like studying it. But pretty much the first week I was like, oh, I love this. I could do this as a job.
Great. Sensational. You're definitely winning. Like shit. Like how old are you?
24.
Awesome. Like you're 24 and you kind of worked it out, right? Like people literally take half their life and more to work that shit out. So
Well, I was lucky because I knew what I wanted to do and I was right.
yay, awesome. Let me follow that up then. Like you knew what to do and you were like what you wanted to do and you were right.
Mm-hmm.
What about somebody who doesn't know what they want to do? What would you say to that person?
Try things. I don't think you can figure out what you want to do unless you try out a bunch of stuff.
And when you say try things, what do you mean by things? Can you be specific?
Well, if you're moderately interested in the environment, try an environmental topic. If you're moderately interested in music, try that. You might get more of an interest and then decide that you want to pursue that, or you might not and then try something else. And you don't even need to necessarily go to uni to do that.
Yeah.
But just find a way to try out something that is of interest.
Yeah,
I guess.
When-
I guess.
When I did my undergrad, I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I ended up doing some music courses, and I did electronic music, right? Fuck.
You've got to be a DJ?
No, no, even more like kind of more extra, like more experimental electronic music.
Righto.
It was pretty like avant-garde, edgy stuff. And at the time I did like these courses, and I was like, what am I doing? Like I was having a bit of fun. I was having fun and everything, but I was like, this is not going to contribute anything. And then literally like 10 years later, I'm like, oh, this video thing's kind of cool. Like I like, but back then there was nothing, like video was one of these things on your shoulder. Now this is in your pocket. I'm like, oh, I like this video stuff. And funnily enough, those skills I learned editing audio at 3 o'clock in the morning in a lab at my uni.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but that's another story. Like you get obsessed about the detail of editing these things and making it perfect, and suddenly like 10 years later, I'm like, oh shit,
it's come in handy.
Right? Like, and not just a little handy, but like seriously freaking useful. And that's something that I thought back then was kind of like a failure. And when I suddenly realised, it just blew my mind that in fact, just like you said it, like like you haven't failed at something, you've learned something. So you should just embrace that always. You know, even if you don't think it's a win now.
Well, you might not know.
Maybe when you're 70, you're suddenly like, oh, holy shit!
Yeah.
Awesome. So aim overseas. So tell me about the biodiversity in Peru course. Maybe like what's Peru like? I've never been there, so I have absolutely no idea.
Peru's awesome. I really honestly only went to Cusco and the Amazon. So the course was in Cusco. So I was based there for about 4 weeks, and we got to go to the Amazon for I think it was 4 days as part of the course. So that's why I went there. But it's just really cool to be in another country.
Is that your first time doing serious travel? Have you travelled before?
I've travelled before. I went to New Zealand when I was 6 months old, but that doesn't really count because I don't remember it happening. And I went to America in 2005 for about 4 weeks with my family.
Nice.
And I went to Spain in 2010 in year 10 with school.
That's cool.
Yeah. We didn't study while we were over there.
No.
We just went. I studied Spanish in high school, so that's why I went to Spain. But we didn't have to do anything while we were there. We just a little tourist school group.
Awesome. Okay, so you travel around a bit. So what was going to Peru like compared to those kind of other experiences?
It was much more stressful because
Really?
I had to go on my own essentially, because I had no one to go like from Adelaide to Cusco with me, and I'd never flown such a great distance on my own before, or actually ever, because it took me about 38 hours to get from Adelaide to Cusco.
Tell me where did you fly? Tell me that trip.
I went Adelaide, Melbourne, Auckland, Santiago, Lima, Cusco.
Wow.
Yep.
That's full on.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was worth it though.
What's Cusco like? What's Cusco like as a place?
It's really nice.
Is it mountains? Is it
it's in the
flatlands?
mountains. So the altitude is a factor. But I didn't find that the altitude affected me too much.
How high? A couple of thousand metres, or?
I think it's more like 4,000.
That's very high.
Can't
Check the show
remember.
notes. I'll drop in the show notes
someone
the
Google this.
altitude of Cusco.
Yeah, but it's high.
Cool.
Machu Picchu, I think, is actually lower than Cusco. So even if you go to yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Pretty sure.
We'll do some fact checking.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. And so what was it like to arrive? So like a bit stressful and everything getting there. Long trip.
Yep, and I did actually meet someone else who was doing the course on I think it was Melbourne to Auckland. I went through Melbourne one way and Sydney the other, so I can't remember which way around it was, but I met someone while I was still in Australia.
Nice.
And she just happened to be sitting across the aisle from me and overheard me telling the people next to me that I was going. And she was like, oh, me too. So that was really good that
That's
I at least
insane.
found her.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we met up with a few other people at various airports because we were all pretty much going there around the same time.
Yeah.
Some people went over earlier and travelled first, but a lot of people were flying over.
What year did you do the program?
2017. So 2 years ago today, actually, I was in Cusco.
So 2019 point of reference for anyone watching this video. Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And so what was it like studying in Cusco?
It was good.
Yeah.
The uni was really cute. It was completely different to Adelaide universities.
Yeah.
The lecturer was amazing.
Yeah.
His name's Oscar.
Yeah.
Would recommend.
Awesome.
Yeah. And it was 3 hours a day. There was some homework involved, but most of the time you could just explore.
That's cool.
I went to the chocolate museum about 3-4 times. So like once a week.
Sounds what's so Cusco? I know from what I know of Peru, like there's quite a lot of the sort of tourist hotspots in and around that particular city. So did you get to go and see a lot of those as well?
I went to Machu Picchu, which I think Cusco's the main place that you go from there. Yeah, it's still a fair way. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. It was actually a rainy, horrible day that we went. So we got to what people call the National Geographic shot, and we couldn't see a thing.
Oh, really?
Couldn't see a thing. I've still not seen that view. And that was quite upsetting, actually. And we were like, is the rain and clouds going to clear? And it did. Not while we were up there, but later on. So we did get to see it.
Nice.
But we were quite scared for a minute that it just wouldn't clear up and we'd have gone that way and not seen it.
That would have been incredibly bad luck.
Yeah, it would have been, but it's okay because the clouds cleared. We saw it. It was amazing. I didn't even see all of it because you can, I think, just wander around for ages.
Yeah.
We climbed Machu Picchu, which I think is a neighbouring kind of mountain. That was hard, but a really good view at the top of Machu Picchu.
Yeah. What's the vibe like there?
Quite relaxing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
Let's say touristy.
Yeah, but still just quite chill.
Yeah.
And it's pretty incredible what they managed to build there, and that's still there.
Yeah. And tell me about the Amazon then, so also part of the program. What was it like going up to the... So that's once again, like, until we actually set up... Isn't that crazy? I'm like, I was a science student, and until we actually set up that program, I didn't even realise that the Amazon went as far as Peru.
I'm not sure I did either until I...
It's a long way from Peru, like to the ocean of Brazil, right? So where the Amazon empties into the sea. So what was that like?
It was good. It didn't really agree with me. I'm allergic to sunscreen, mosquitoes love me, and I reacted to my insect repellent. And I don't do well in heat, but it was still awesome. Still awesome. A couple of people on the trip actually were like, Lauren, are you okay? And I was like, yep, it's fine. We'll just keep going. This is how I look now.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. We went on treks, which was sometimes hard work, more so for me than others because the heat. But we saw giant otters.
Oh, cool.
That was probably the highlight. So excited to see them.
Awesome. Great. So in terms of like an additional thing to have done at uni, how highly would you recommend that kind of experience to somebody?
I would definitely do it if you get the opportunity to.
Yeah. What do you feel that that's given you? If you hadn't done that, what do you feel like you'd be missing?
Well, I'd be missing an overseas holiday for a start. I'd be missing a couple of friends because I made friends with a few people over there. I got to use my Spanish skills, which was actually quite fun. They're not at a very high level, but they're there, and I got to do that again. I think I got a bit more independent, and I had to hold myself a bit more accountable for things and for study, because obviously my mum wasn't there to get me out of bed in the morning to go to uni, but I went, mostly.
What's next for you?
I'm currently looking for a job, so that's hopefully what's next. There's not heaps of jobs in Adelaide in the environmental sector, but I'm hopeful. Yeah.
Would you consider move? Like, would you think
I
about
would,
moving?
but I've got a boyfriend.
Aha.
Yes. And he doesn't super want to move, but...
Is he still studying or is he finished?
No, he's an electrician.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
which he just finished.
Okay.
His apprenticeship. We've been together for over 5 years.
Nice.
So I don't really want to move away from him. But I mean, if the right job comes up and I do get it, I have applied for jobs interstate and we've discussed it, and we'll just kind of see what happens if I do get the job. But I haven't got one interstate yet, but I'd obviously prefer to stay in Adelaide.
Sure.
So that would be ideal.
It's a pretty freaking awesome place, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It's less busy than most other Australian cities, I guess.
So let's talk about that, because I've certainly met people here who have moved to Adelaide to come and study. If somebody was, and that's something Australians don't really do, right? Like, we don't move interstate to go and study.
I wouldn't move interstate to study.
No, right? But you know, you look at Americans systematically move interstate.
Yeah.
It's just what they do.
Yeah.
So just in terms of people realising that that's an option, why Adelaide? You know, what's awesome about Adelaide? If you could pull out some highlights.
Well, pretty much anywhere is close to the city, which is where 2 of the 3 universities mostly are.
And Flinders downtown, like, I know that this year, they're opening right over here.
We've got
Vic Square.
Yeah, there is a Flinders building somewhere.
There it is.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's this, people? So literally, there's Flinders Uni up there. Hello, Flinders. We're not lying. There we go. It's true.
Yeah. So there's that building of Flinders in town. I'm not sure. I think that there are some law topics in there. I never had a topic in town.
Okay. Most stuff out or down south. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's even only 15-20 minutes from the city, so it's not too bad. And I think our cost of living isn't too bad. I still live at home, so my cost of living is very low. But
it's heaps of, like, I think that's something down here. Actually, the building's going up over here, but there's heaps of apartments and accommodation in the city. So much accommodation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
And what else? Like, what do people do here? I mean, over here we got some dudes skating, doing their skating thing, but obviously that's not for everybody. What do people do in Adelaide? Like, what do people? Is it outdoorsy kind of town?
Yeah.
I know. I
think a lot of people go to the beach.
Yeah.
Because the
beaches are nice.
Yeah, good beaches. Yeah, March is kind of where it's at in Adelaide. February, March. Because that's when Fringe is here, Calypso is here. It's not even called the Calypso anymore.
What's it called? That's the Cars,
Adelaide
right?
500?
The Cars.
Yeah, it's the Cars. It's not my area of expertise, so I don't even know what it's called.
Sure.
And then there's another festival, I think just the Adelaide Festival.
Yeah.
In February, March.
Nice.
It's called Mad March in Adelaide.
Oh, right.
Yep. It's when everyone's in town. There's heaps of stuff to do.
Awesome. I've been.
Oh yeah, there's a river.
There is the river. The river is actually, it's got to be like Torrens River, dead set. When you go there in the mornings and the sun's coming up, It's one of my favourite places in all of Australia.
Oh.
It's fucking mind-blowing. You can be like walk out of a hotel
Yeah.
here and be on this beautiful river, and the sun comes up and it's quiet, and like in 5 minutes you're back in this beautiful little CBD, nice and compact, walkable, good food,
Yeah.
good coffee.
Everything's just close in
close,
Adelaide.
Chocolate. Like,
That's good.
chocolate is good here.
We've got Hagues, which is now interstate as well, so it's less special, but started in Adelaide.
Yeah. And this is maybe a bit beyond for some of you guys watching this, but dead set like Australia's best airport as far as I'm concerned.
Is it? Okay.
It's so easy, like there's just no shit in Adelaide
It's
Airport.
also not too busy.
It's tiny, right?
Yeah.
It's great. Love it. Awesome. Well, Lauren, it's been so good to chat with you. Where do people find you if are you on Insta or anywhere like that?
Yep, I'm on Insta. I'm _Losmac.
Losmac.
Yep.
Nice. Next adventure, where are you heading next? If you could get on a plane and go anywhere tomorrow.
Hopefully the Maldives in November.
Sweet.
It's in the works.
Nice. Why the
Yeah.
Maldives?
That was a good deal. So hopefully there. Otherwise, maybe New Zealand, Fiji. I quite like beachy holidays.
Yeah.
But honestly, anywhere.
Awesome.
Anywhere.
Well, epic chatting with you. Thanks so much. It's been epic.
No worries.
Catch you again sometime.
Cool.
Bye. See you next time, people. Oh, all the details I'll drop in the notes at the bottom there. Any questions you've got, any comments, if you'd like to know what it's like studying environmental sciences, biology, drop them in the comments below, and I'll definitely reply to you, get back to you as well. So, thanks for your time.
No
Nice to
worries.
chat.
Thank you.
Bye.